I'll call this meeting of the Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee to order on August 28th at about 4:10 p.m. And we'll do a round of introductions for committee members who are present. And then we'll give a roll call of members who were not able to be present today. So I'll start. My name is George Palumpsis. I'm the planning board representative to this committee. I am the vice chair. I typically facilitate these meetings at the behest of the chair. And because the chair is not present today, I'll also be chairing this meeting.
My name is Francoise Hatt, and I'm a member of the public.
My name is Bram Morinus, and I'm a member of the public. And this is my first meeting.
Officially, yes.
Sarah Brown, City Council designee.
Nancy, you can go ahead.
Nancy Hazard, member at large.
Amy Kaling, I'm the Planning and Development Department designee.
And the folks who couldn't be here today, we have 11 members of the committee in total, and all the seats are filled. The youth representative is Mike Boudreau, who is the director of GPS Facilities and Grounds. Carol Collins is the director of Energy and Sustainability. Jonah Keene is a public member. Hannah Rechtstoffen, as I mentioned, is chair and is a public member. And Paul Newell is the new DPW director and was hoping to attend his first meeting of the SGIC today, but was called away by something. So hopefully we'll have him and other members back for the September meeting. So the next item on the agenda is public comments.
Let's do an official roll call.
I think
Introductions.
we didn't introduct. Yeah, that's. I don't know. They're kind of blended together.
Okay.
So next is public comment. We have up to 10 minutes for public comment. If any members of the public who are present wish to weigh in about any items relevant to the work of the committee and the Greenfield Master Plan. I see a couple members of the public present on Zoom, so feel free to unmute yourselves if you wish to speak and comment. I see Max is unmuted.
Hey, my name is Max. I am just listening in. I am running for city council and hoping to switch in with Sarah next year. So I want to get a feel for the committee. I do a lot of conservation work on my own, and I'm a gardener. That's my job. And I am also working with Martha, who's in attendance, on bringing the eschar rodenticide campaign to Greenfield and getting it kicked off and into the hands of the public. So nice to meet you all.
You too, Max. And Max, would you mind giving, it's not absolutely necessary, but mind giving, I see your last name is, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but I see it's up there.
Web, like a spider.
Thank you. And address or precinct or?
Sure, it's 140 Elm Street, Precinct 9. Thank
you very much.
Did you say SRO out of GHS? What was the name of this campaign?
eschars. It's second generation anticoagulant rodenticides. And
thank you.
Yep. Great.
Thank you. And we have another member of the public present, Martha. Again, not wanted to put you on the spot, but you're welcome to comment if you'd like to. I'll pause.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Martha Rollman, and this is John Schuster, my husband. We're working on this Mass Audubon campaign together. And I'm not sure if you want us to speak now during the comment period or wait until it looked like we were on the agenda number 11.
This is the person, excuse me, Martha, just a second. This is the person, Sarah, you were talking about. So it sounds like, Martha, it would make sense, since Sarah had asked for you to be here, essentially a guest, to speak at more length during the agenda item when we get to it.
Okay, sounds good.
So, yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate it.
Okay, the next item is approval of the July 26th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Yes, I move, we approve the July meeting minutes. Second.
Thank you. Discussion. Any comments on the minutes? Is that a yellow hand up there, Nance?
It is.
Yes.
Yes. I have one comment. By the way, I love the minutes being so comprehensive. Number 8, the fourth paragraph, it says that I attended a meeting last year. Could you replace last year with recently?
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion, comments on the minutes? I had a couple. One, Graham was again not listed on the, under the those presents. He hadn't been put into the template yet.
Yeah, okay.
Wasn't there yet, as he was acknowledging, but,
And B is not on this month's minutes template, so I'm adding in both.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And, it was just a little partial sentence at the very end of number 8, so it's on page 4. Sarah stated is interested in inviting, I'm guessing it would be the CPC chair, but, and then it says, will invite CPC chair. I'm assuming that was Hannah. But, it was, we were wrapping up that item, so.
Sure. I could,
Do you
I'm
remember?
guessing CPC, if you don't
I
remember,
think that's,
okay,
Okay.
I didn't notice that.
okay, thank you.
And I assume it was Hannah who would invite.
Yes.
CPC chair. Any other discussion or comments on the minutes? On the thorough 99.5% accurate.
She wasn't even here for
Huh?
most of it.
Hmm?
Yeah, and Amy wasn't even here for most of it.
Video though, you are.
Yes.
Oh,
The video, my
wow.
friends.
Okay. I'll take. If not, we have to do, as I was, as planning board chair, I was chided during an open meeting law, in the context of an open meeting law complaint. That wasn't the context of the complaint. Anytime we have a member of a committee or a board who is not present, we have to do a roll call for voting. So all in favor of approving the minutes as edited?
Françoise, yes.
Have to abstain.
You don't have, I'll just comment, you do not have to abstain because you weren't present. You can vote from having watched the video, or if you feel like you have confidence in the system that creates it, so you're not, it's not, but you can choose to
All right,
abstain.
I have confidence in the system.
So you're voting,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Nancy?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Okay, it's unanimous. I've learned from the Attorney General's office. All right, okay. Next item is master plan updates from me as, and this is about the ongoing discussion of the updates of the master plan. And this is the from the Conway School process. And we were moving on, as I mentioned last month, to the land use. And our hope had been to complete the entirety of the land use chapter at our last planning board meeting, and then vote on the adjustments we had made to the, or additions we had made to the National Historic and Cultural chapter, and also land use, but we did not. Because we actually had quite a few edits to the land use chapter. Some were minor. For example, it talks about when it referenced in Arlington vacant commercial property registry, it referred to in the text, it referred to a bylaw. And obviously, as a city, we don't have bylaws, we have ordinances. So that's a very minor but necessary change. And a couple things about including different lead departments or stakeholders, like including the DPW, for something including around downtown changes. But there were also some pretty significant ones. There were around the section, the first goal was around cultivate a lively, attractive, and accessible downtown environment. And then within that, there was a strategy about improve and expand safe pedestrian bicycle access, excuse me, and public transportation downtown. And within that, we thought there were a few items that, while well-intentioned, didn't really fit within that goal of the downtown. For example, there was reference to Turner's Falls Road, which, as a cyclist and a pedestrian advocate, I know that's an awful road that needs attention, but it didn't seem to fit the issue of the downtown. It seemed to fit, and there were a couple others within that that seemed to be more, that would more fit in an update of the transportation chapter, or feasibility, explore the feasibility of creating a Franklin County e-bike share program. And we already, in the existing transportation chapter, the 2014, had flagged Turner's Falls Road for being studied as far as improvements. And we already had about looking at the feasibility of a bike share program, not e-bikes at that time, a little over 10 years ago. So we were trimming a few things that didn't seem to fit within that framework of that goal. It seemed a little to expand it too much, even though they were reasonable things, but they seem to have been covered by the transportation chapter, which the students wouldn't really have studied, I don't think, in with their narrower focus. And then under the issue of increasing housing stock and accessibility of housing units, there were a few items that had actually been accomplished, like increasing the maximum allowed use in new, maximum number of units allowed in new multifamily buildings, which the cap was stated as being 24 units. And now that's been increased. And so a few other things like that. So we spent quite a bit of time cleaning up, if you will, that to make it a little more consistent with what the goal was and to take out things that have already been accomplished. So we're about halfway through the land use chapter. And then we'll be finished that up, I believe, at the next meeting. And then I'll report back again. And then about what the next steps would be beyond that. And I know this committee wanted to be involved with next steps beyond that, as far as public involvement, et cetera. So.
So who will make the corrections, George? The planning commission is actually making corrections.
Yes, the
It doesn't
planning
come
board.
back to us.
Correct. It's a planning board document.
Yeah.
So the planning board is the final arbiter of this. So the planning board is taking and respecting all the work that's been done on it. And the students, the subset of the SGIC that collaborated with the students, the work the SGIC did, on this. And I was, confessing in my work on this committee in reviewing some of these things, I should have caught some of these things that, probably shouldn't have made it to the planning board. I should have probably flagged these within our work on this committee, to be considered for being taken out or something like that. So, but it's the planning board's document to be,
I'm glad to hear
Okay.
that we don't have to hash it out.
Oh, gotcha.
So do we work in paper, or is there a Google Doc that they're editing, or like what exactly is you have the current public document and then you have the draft document where changes are being applied. Is that draft document paper? Is it what is it? Who holds it? Just curious.
Sure. So right now, we're just working off a paper document, and then this will be updated, but we have you know, this was an underlying Google Doc, so that'll be updated. So I'm not sure exactly how that'll be, you know, but that'll be updated and then used to disseminate further.
So we have a Google Doc that's reflecting the changes as we make them.
It will once we vote on them. We haven't voted on them yet, so.
Okay, because I don't have a copy of that. Maybe somebody sent it at some point, but I don't. So if there's a vote needed at some point, I'll need to be able to see it.
But this committee wouldn't vote on it.
So, okay, that thing that you're holding with the
Yes.
scratch marks on it,
Yes,
that's the only thing that we have. We don't have a copy of that. There's no digital version of that. That's it.
so there was a,
Criticize, just ask.
no, so there was a Google Doc.
Mhm.
And then just to help with us working on it, this is printed out. Some of the, and I'm a paper guy, so some of the planning board members are working on this on their laptops during the planning board meetings.
So I'll
I think it
get
might
on.
be open meeting law, you can't collaboratively edit.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
So there's a Google Doc you're referring to. That's the planning board's Google Doc.
It-
Rather than our Google Doc.
Are we in this committee?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a working document that has gone through the Conway School students, the group that of the subset of this, a working group of 4 of this committee. And then it came to this committee to work on, and then it was passed along to the planning board. And so now it's continuing to be adjusted, but we haven't voted on these final edits yet.
And we, the planning board.
Planning board, yes.
Okay,
Not
that,
us.
the we is where we're getting into.
My apologies.
So we, the SGIC, have that printout that you have, which is being marked off to the extent that we're suggesting any changes to the planning board document, or we don't have anything to do with it. I'm trying to.
Not at this point, the SDIC has had their input. Excuse me, pass it along to the planning board. And now the planning board is making final changes.
Got it, thank you.
Sure, yes. You're getting caught up, I understand, so, yeah.
Probably no problems.
Nancy, your hand is up there again.
Yeah, 2 things, and maybe I'm over speaking here, but in the end, it becomes a PDF, which will then be posted publicly. Is that accurate?
Yes, just like how many pages is it? 300?
Like the master plan, yeah,
Yeah, the master plan is on the website as a PDF.
correct, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
my my question, that was a comment. is can you remind me of when the next planning board meeting is?
September 4th.
Thank you so much.
And I know you tried to get on that meeting by Zoom and unsuccessfully,
That's correct.
the last one.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know what would be a better system, but what I'll tell you when I'm trying to get on and I can't, I feel helpless because I figure the people in the meeting are all focusing on the meeting and they're not going to be looking at their cell phones or whatever. They're not going to know that I'm having trouble.
Well, actually, to respond to that, people were aware. We're quite, because this has been an issue from an open meeting law point of view, we're quite sensitive to if anyone might be trying to get in. And someone tried to reach out to you. And
Vaguely
And-
remember that now that you mention it.
yeah, and other people were not able to use the link, but they were able to use the password or the code or the numbers on the calendar. So that worked for other people. So they're trying to cue you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not being oblivious to you or any member of the public who's trying to get in. We're trying to,
So, Amy, it sounded like there's some way that you can tell that people are trying to get in and failing. Is that
I
accurate?
could tell because you had, I guess, texted Sarah,
Okay,
which then I became aware of.
okay,
And
yeah.
I
so-
always have my email up. You can always email me if you're stuck. I know that isn't super helpful for everyone, but
Is email the best way or text?
during a meeting, email.
email. Thank you. That's helpful.
But it's a continuous concern because someone who doesn't have a connection with someone on the committee,
Yeah.
you don't want someone to be just trying and get stuck, and it's this kind of additional access is great from an open meeting law point of view, but if it doesn't work, it's terrible. So we're trying to continuously work it out, but also be ever vigilant, Nancy. So we're not being oblivious, like, we're all set. So just to assure you.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Also,
Yep.
Nancy, if you want to take your head down, then we'll know when it's actually back up for real.
Find where I put my hand up. All right, the next item, unless there's any further discussion of that one. Seeing none, the next item is discussion of how SGIC engages with social media. Continuation of conversation from last month, focusing on how we can use social media to share information about the city's sustainability efforts and how that communication can be sustained and supported.
So it sounded like from last meeting that it's really the town itself who's in charge. Right? It was somebody in Carol's office.
Mhm. Jenna, is that right?
I think so. Sure.
It's in the minutes.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
I
well, I don't know if that person's name is in the minutes, but
think it is.
Yeah, we were supposed to email somebody if we wanted it.
Jen.
Jen.
So the upshot, but we can't individual. Right? So if we as a committee want something advertised or shared with the public, we'd have to send it to Jen. Correct? Did I understand that?
I think so. I think my recollection also from last time, we had a conversation, not only logistically how we would post, but when, like, do we want to be waiting until we have just like a meeting to announce or a public engagement thing versus should we be more actively engaging with the community? And I think my sense was we wanted to have more of that conversation, but I don't have a good answer.
I mean, that would be great if we find out about something like the rodenticide long before a meeting. It might be good to put a link at least on our website so that people know that we're interested in that topic and maybe they would be interested in that topic.
Yeah, like also the climate change flooding event happening September 8th. So I feel like I can, at the Greenfield Public Library. So I feel like events, sustainability events are a good thing to be promoting. So I can email Carol. I don't know if I have Jen's, to add those to the Facebook.
Right.
Did we ever do an inventory of what are the ways that in the past the SGIC has ever needed to communicate or collaborate with the community, or what ways we foresee ourselves needing to collaborate or communicate with the community? It just would seem to me we'd want to know that before we start strategizing what we do.
Well, we reflected on it a bit last month, and for example, one way is we have done some my turns that were by the committee. So it was supported by the committee. And so that's one example.
What I'm meaning more is in terms of our goals. Like writing a my turn would be something to do because we want to do something.
Yes.
So we want to inform the community of our work regularly, or when there's a particular milestone reached, or is there anything like, are we ever trying to get the community to participate in something that we're up to? I just think it'd be interesting to me if we did a go round or just a report from whoever's been here longest. What are the different ways that we relate to the community? Because social media has like a different affordance of engagement and also a different limitation than a public we put our stuff here and we want people to all know to go here to look for it because that's what we do. Would you be willing to just, here's ways I remember us ever saying, hey, we need the community's participation in stuff that we're doing. Not just like, here's an opinion piece in my turn, but like something we're trying to accomplish.
Well, I mean, and Nancy and I have been on this committee since it was formed, so we can speak to that, but we've had intermittent public events, you know, to engage the public. Those have been the most notable, I think. And we've had those based on they've been sometimes to share more general updates about the master plan and keep public awareness alive. There've been some specific topics sometimes. So it's been an ongoing discussion. We've had intermittent, you know, is it time to have another public event and what would be the topic or what would be a focus? So we've had those a couple times a year, maybe. Nancy, would that seem clear? Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I agree. It's mostly we have done public events to reach people, and we have discussed the topic of who are we, what do we do, ad nauseum. And we have never used social media. So that's why it's on the agenda.
Cool. So my thoughts were just, if there's something where we actually want to do, you know, charrette style, engaging with the community to help inform something we want to do, it sounds like that isn't something we've done before. I'm hearing events and I'm hearing that the community know what we're up to, but I'm not hearing charrette or other kind of input. Is that correct?
At our last meeting, we discussed this at great length. I don't know if you read the minutes, but if you did, you'd see there was lots of discussion back and forth. And the outcome of that was that we were going to decide how to deal with things that we care about on a case-by-case basis, because everything is different and unique. So in particular, this got brought up because of the person who brought up the issue of noise pollution and string trimmers and leaf blowers or whatever it was. And you know, okay, do we want an ordinance? Do we want this or do we that? And we said, no, we need to do public education first. So this is a different, and there was research that was done on it and blah, blah, blah. And so that's where we're at, is if there's an issue, bring it up, we'll talk about it and decide how we want to move it forward.
Yes.
I feel like monthly post seems like a good goal, and basically just like after we have a meeting and people hear surface announcements of things coming up, maybe there's a couple takeaways that make sense to post on Facebook, and then we just send that along to Carol is often here, but maybe you can send something to Jen, just like a monthly roundup. It's not a huge amount of social media presence, but also people can get public education from so many other sources, and we don't necessarily need to be that. And could copy Jen, and then also the city communications person, Jonathan. That to me feels like a low lift that I'd be going.
The idea of a regular frequency and subscription seem like two things. Like if I'm somebody in the community, I want to know whenever something's happening with the SGIC that they think I should know about. Social media lets me, you know, like the page and have them show up in my feed, although I have to be very rigorous about checking my feed for it.
Yeah.
A web page that gets updated on the website, there's nothing that's going to come to me and say, hey, that's been updated, unless it had, you know, some kind of attached subscribe thing. But I should think that the town has logs that you can subscribe to that give you email notifications or something. If it doesn't, that would be a really great.
As what again? Did you say?
Email notification subscriptions. So like if I go, I want to track what's happening with the SGIC, I subscribe, and then whenever a new post has come out with whatever frequency we do, people get an email about it.
Do you have any?
I don't think that exists. Does
It
it?
does not exist, that I am aware of in, I don't think any department, and I am sure that is 100% a capacity issue. I can tell you that my department does not have capacity to like make blog posts about what we're doing on a monthly basis, like realistically. I think that would be a short-lived, I love the idea, but I think it might be short-lived. But I think even though it isn't going out by subscription, and the idea of a monthly posting that happens on the heels of a meeting is
I agree.
a great thing and might be an easy tool to start. And maybe once, once Sustainable Greenfield or somewhere gets in the habit of doing that, then maybe the shift to a blog with a subscription option wouldn't feel like such a big lift. If you're already in the habit of doing that.
It should be possible, and I won't say anything else because I'm over things. If it's a thing that we've approved to go out, we could just create some little platform that all you do is subscribe and get that thing, nothing else. So there's no like back and forth. There's nothing that isn't official conversation. But it wouldn't have to happen on Greenfield's website if they don't have the capacity for it. I could set it up easily. And so if that's considered part of social media, the idea that people can subscribe and get regular updates to their email, it doesn't force people to have to get onto Instagram if they happen to hate it, and then have to figure out when was the last thing because it doesn't ping them. So I'd like to see subscribing to new posts a component of it. And I can provide it if we need it.
I'm happy to copy you if I on something and if you wanted to start with me already.
I just need the committee to say, yes, Graham,
Right.
please create a page where people could do that. And then that would just be like, I don't know, at the bottom of the things that go out. I realize it sounds very, very geeky, but just, I don't ever want to have to be responsible to have to go onto Instagram. And I'm not going to notice if a my turn floats by because I may not read every my turn that happens.
You said it sounds very whatty. I didn't understand.
Geeky.
Oh, Nancy,
Question, is this what I would call a list serve or not?
A listserv would accomplish the same purpose for people who
Okay.
subscribe, yes.
Okay, so then the other question I have is, who would develop the content that would be a report on this meeting, and is there a review of it, or does somebody just all of us, I don't know.
say again, Nancy?
So who would, I like your idea, Sarah, of a monthly, just this is what happened at the meeting. Who's gonna write it? And do we designate that to somebody? Do we say, go ahead and write it when nobody's gonna review it? Or, for me, that's the capacity piece maybe that Amy, you're talking about. I don't know, but
I'll comment. I'll call myself. I like the idea of having something that comes out at the end of each meeting. We have an established Facebook page. I've never been on Facebook, but I understand people use it and it exists. And so that's one thing that we have that is an official channel from the city out to people, and some people would access it. And we can, at the end of a meeting, we can say, we can have as a regular agenda item, we're gonna have, X number of items forwarded to Carol, to forward to Jen, to put on the Facebook page. The thing you're referring to, Bram, and I appreciate your willingness to do it. I'm just concerned about something being an external to the city system, something that's private. That's my only concern. And I don't know how that works. I like it sounds like it could be something that could be effective, but it sounds unofficial. And we're an official committee. We're an official arm of the city government. So that's my only concern.
I think Nancy's point about setting up a listserv, that does, people just may go and they subscribe to a Google group, then you're using Google. That's the problem. It is involved in, somebody has to make the platform, either us or Google. But if it was a Google group, you subscribe and you get the postings when they go up onto the website. If it was the city, and I really will stop now. I'm so sorry. the city can make a subdomain like blog.sgic.greenfield.mat and whatever. Because if it's a subdomain of the city, that lets you know that the city is approving the thing. That points to a WordPress site that just has the blog and the subscribe button and nothing else. But I think a Google group, if we think that using Google as a way of tracking city stuff is what we want to do, would totally solve the problem very easy.
Sir?
I'm just concerned that we might have like 22 subscribers, or like, that would be like the amount of, like, I feel like it would just be easier if it's like, hey, this is what we post to social media. This is also it in email format. If you want to forward it to the Greenfield listserv, which has like a couple hundred folks on it, or Brazilian Greenfield, like just using our existing Google groups around environmental sustainability feels like that's actually would get to more eyes.
So basically, we would say to anybody in the community who wants to track with what SGRC is doing, go join the Greenfield listserv.
I mean, it's still external to us, but
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that like they would go and we're sort of a semi-officially, since Greenfield had a big point in starting this thing, saying, that if you join them, you have to do it. The problem is they'll have to read everything that comes out of Greenfield. So
yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, like, yes, we want an email format and we also want for people not on social media, but I'm also fine with just starting with this and next time.
Let me ask, it sounds like we get more discussion about this, but to wrap up this item for a time perspective, do we want to, you had mentioned, Sarah, a couple of items, a couple of upcoming events. Do we want to, as committee, approve those two event announcements being forwarded to Carol, to be forwarded to Jen, to be put on the Facebook? And do you want to say what those were again?
Sure, the climate change and flooding event at the public library on September 8th, 6:30, I'm pretty sure. I can also like check the flyer on my phone, and then the other one was the rodenticide campaign, and that's September 15th, also at the public library at 6.
And do you want to make a motion to?
Yes, I would love to make a motion I'll forward this to Carol, I'll get Jen's email, and also Jonathan Wilbur in comms.
They want to second that motion?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion?
I'm just wondering, so then we're relying on this Jen person to put it up wherever. And things are, what's the delay gonna be? Does she have?
Hannah has access as well, I think I remember. So I can do Hannah too.
I was gonna say, I don't want to overcomplicate this, but it does feel a little bit odd to have this conversation without both Carol and Hannah here, since they are the two people that have access to the Facebook page.
Oh, Hannah does.
Hannah does as well.
Oh, okay.
So, maybe,
Asterisk pending, whatever.
yeah, or maybe you could reach out and say, this is what we're thinking, or we could add it to you could ask if they could just post those two events and we can see what kind of reaction we get, and I can add it to the agenda next month. We'll be here.
But I mean, we've been talking about doing this, so we could just add Hannah to because I forgot Hannah was one of the people.
Yes, although yes. You could.
You want to make a friendly amendment to your motion and add Hannah?
Hannah,
Okay. You'll second that,
I will second.
Justin? All right. Is that good enough? Do we take a vote? Do you want to, in favor?
Yes.
Anthony, vote?
Yes.
Yeah. Unanimous, very good. Next item is discussion of engagement with the Community Preservation Committee. Continued discussion of how SGIC could or should engage with the CPC, review of priorities, review of proposed projects, and whether SGIC wants to consider submitting a CPC project in an upcoming round of funding. And obviously we talked about this at the last month's meeting as well. with the conclusion of inviting the chair, CPG chair, to this meeting.
Right.
So, what, does anyone have further discussion at this point about that? Pending
Well,
having the person.
I mean, I think submitting a project this year seems unreasonable. And yeah, because they're due before next meeting and we haven't met with the CPC chair, so maybe next year?
As far as submitting a project.
Yes.
Okay.
And we haven't even discussed what, I feel like we would need to kind of bring up ideas for what is it that this committee would like the CPC to fund.
And the other question was, should we engage with them around their priorities,
Exactly.
or should we review other people's projects that have been submitted?
Yeah.
Any discussion of that right now? We will be.
I just a general comment that I agree with Marie-Francois is that it, because the pre-apps are due. So before we meet again, it doesn't make sense to apply it this year, but maybe if we do wind up updating the economic development chapter of the master plan this year, we could keep in mind, thinking about whether there's a project that might come out of that, that we could approach CPC for. I think it would be worthwhile for us to keep the notion of applying for CPC funding in our heads, as we go through the year.
And might I add, once the land use, for instance, and even the historical piece of what we reviewed is approved and public, there might be ideas there, you know? Can't
Yeah.
quite remember what they are.
Yeah. Nancy?
Yeah, I think what we did talk about at the last meeting, which I think is really appropriate, is to look at the applications and to see how they support or move forward the city, the master plan. And I think at this point, so as to keep, not to muddy this committee with trying to talk about each one and come to an agreement, I'd just urge each individual person on the committee who has a particular interest in this to look at those applications and to write a support letter. Anybody can do that. And they would have to do it as an individual, obviously, and not as a, you could say you're a member of SGIC, but you're not speaking on behalf of SGIC.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Any further thoughts? Okay, and it sounds like perhaps Hannah will be asking the chair to join us and. Okay. Great. Next is discussion, another continued conversation, discussion of composting in the schools. As we talked about last month, efforts of composting in Greenfield schools, how SGIC might support an ongoing effort to restart this program. I know we don't have Mike here. I don't know if that was Nancy, you would.
Yeah, I can give you a short report on the meeting that we did have. I was hoping that Mike would be here because he may know more than I do at this point. But a group of people, Greenfield, invited Roland Joyla, the interim superintendent, to have a discussion with us, and we had a Zoom call, and Mike was on that call, and Greta Schwachman, is that how you pronounce her name? The director of the Greenfield Public School Food and Nutrition Services was on the call, as was Amy Donovan, Franklin County Solid Waste Management District, and Peg Hall from Greenfield. And Kyle Bostrom, who is the Greenfield High School Sustainability Club advisor, was invited, but at the last minute he couldn't come. We had a great meeting. The superintendent is very interested in trying to get the composting up and running again. He wanted to it hasn't been 2 weeks. He said he had some details he wanted to check out Amy Donovan, who started the composting in all of the schools in this county, she gave a detailed description of exactly what it involves, who it involves, et cetera, which was, I think, very helpful to everybody. And we discussed money, which we thought was going to be a huge obstacle. It didn't seem to be the key obstacle. So I'm encouraged, and Roland said he would get back to us in a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping, in spite of the fact that school is just getting up and running, that he will be able to get back to us in the next week or so about next steps. So as far as this committee goes, as I say, I was hoping that Mike would be here and that he would have, because he would be involved in those meetings with Roland, and he could tell us a little bit more. But I think, if we wanted to write a letter just cheering them on, trying to really make them appreciate that they're considering it, and hopefully, that they can make this come about. If you feel like that's appropriate, how helpful will it be? I don't know. It's really on Roland's, he's on his radar. He cares about it. He wants to make it happen. And we could offer, how can we help? But I don't know how we could help, so why offer?
Anybody else?
Just, I'm happy to hear this update. That's really good news that the interim superintendent is interested in making it happen. And yeah, sounds like just a good report, but not much for us to do.
Shall I keep it on the agenda for next month?
Sure, I would say.
Wait, I'm hoping
Yeah.
I'll come back and say thumbs up. That
But
would
it
be,
doesn't sound like Nancy, a letter would just say, great, keep going, but it sounds like the people involved are already have their own enthusiasm for doing it, so we don't really, there's not a need for that per se. It wouldn't really
don't
do
need
it.
to urge them or persuade them or anything like that. I think it's more that we want to support them and encourage them to move forward. So I don't know if anyone has the energy to do that, but I think it would be a lovely thing.
Be very glad to do whatever I could for that. I just don't know what our next thing would be. I attended some of the meetings and see the same ones.
It strikes me that this might be the kind of thing that, depending on what the next update is, this could be one of the things that goes into disseminating information, to get the word out to support this. So more broadly in the community or something like that. So just a thought. It sounds like they've got some momentum going now with the key people who are trying to work on it. So.
Well, maybe here's a thought, it's very loose, but if I don't hear back from him within a week, I was planning to send him an email and, ask him how he's coming. And I could mention in that email that we talked about it, this committee talked about it, and that the committee's very supportive and something like that, just very informal.
Yeah, and we have it on our agenda for next month eager to hear updates. So.
Thank you so much for your interest in the topic. It's been a struggle in the Greenfield schools.
Yeah.
Did
you have
Thank
anything?
you so much.
Okay, next is discussion of 2025 Energy Fair. Discussion of request from Greenfield to co-sponsor their Energy Fair. FERCog has signed on as co-sponsor, and the Community and Economic Development Department has expressed an interest in supporting this project. The current proposed date is Monday, October 20th at the John Zahn Center. Nancy, is your hand still up or is it up again?
Maybe it should be up again.
Okay, very good.
No. Yeah, so many of you may, I don't know how many of you attended the energy fair that Green and Greenfield held last year with co-sponsorship from this committee and from FERCog. Do any of you remember that? Was certainly Amy, you were in the middle of it, so you were, that was so incredibly helpful. But in any case, it was a very successful meeting. I mean, over 60 people attended, and there were maybe 8 vendors there. And as you may know, Allison Gage, who was our FERCog person who worked so hard with me on it, has left FERCog, and a person by the name of Ted Harvey has raised his hand and is eager to work on it and play the same role that Allison played. And he has personal experience of updating his home and working with Matt fairly recently and working with Mass Save. So I'm excited about working with him. And so we need sort of I want a formal commitment that SGAIC wants to be signed on again as a co-sponsor. And Amy, thank you for offering to, the key thing that besides all the moral support that you gave me was securing the Johnson.
Yep, it's open after 4:30 on Monday, on the 20th.
On the
So
20th. That's great to know.
so
Okay.
far that works, but I'm holding off locking it in until
Yep.
you're
Now
right.
that now that a week or two has passed, I'm getting a little nervous about whether we can actually pull it off by the 20th, but I think so. I'd like to get it, not slipping into the Thanksgiving world. And so
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Or just what are you looking for in co-sponsoring besides like a logo on a flyer, but like if I can't personally attend that day, like what are you looking for us attending, supporting, what do you?
well, last year what happened is that Amy, you brought your staff, which was incredibly helpful. And actually there was nobody other than Amy on in the SGIC committee that raised their hand to help. But that could be helpful. There's some logistics, most of which, in addition to what Amy and her staff, I must say, the the people I had lined up to help set up the tables and chairs from Greening Refield didn't show up. So Amy and
We're
your
experienced at setting up tables and chairs in that space, so we
guys
got it down.
saved me, totally saved me. And so if there's someone else that wants to join that crew, I would love that. And there's logistics around the pizza and stuff, which last year worked okay with GG folks. But so there's some logistics that can always use more warm bodies.
So I'll call on myself. So Nancy, so this committee did sponsor it, co-sponsor it last year. But none of us attended. Except yourself, you're saying. Is that
I'm
right?
About
And
that.
And Amy.
Amy,
And
yeah.
so what was the impact or the effect of us being co-sponsors? Is it that we're officially listed as a co-sponsor? Does that give some weight to it? Does it give what's the purpose or what's the value of that?
Well, I guess for me, 2 things. One is, yes, I like the support and the weight that the logo on our on the invitation, that it gives that the city is behind this and it's part of, a bigger effort. And then as a member of SGIC, it's it's being clear about that SGAC is on top of it and that we're actually doing something and supporting something and and it's a big deal in the master plan to deal with energy. And there's other than trying to do, I was hoping actually there was going to be a staff person, and Carol worked on a grant. We hope to have a real paid person run this energy fair this year. And that didn't happen. But I really wanted to keep happening. So, And I want, this is what SGIC is all about, or should be all about.
Can I have a motion that we co-sponsor it and figure out
Sure.
to help?
You can-
Discussion first?
Well, we can have discussion after as well,
Yeah.
so
Second then.
discussion.
I teach, I can be up here by 3 o'clock. To me, if we're going to be co-sponsoring, we ought to have a table. And we could use this as a way of answering the question of what are our community outreach goals?
Mhm.
We can, at the table, share whatever the methods we've come up with for people to get some subscription-based, notification-based access to what we're up to. Do we feel comfortable saying by the 20th, we'll have some? Is the fair in the afternoon or the morning? If we had a table, could somebody come before 3 and then I could come and spell them?
Well, as you're saying, it's after, sometime
The
after,
room is booked until 4:30. Last year, we did it at 6, Nancy?
it's in the evening.
5:30, yeah,
We
after
opened
workout.
we opened it at 5:30, which was, yeah, a challenge. But we did, because we wanted to serve the pizza and be sure we got people before they went to supper, before they left town. So,
So let me just suggest, in the interest of time, because we're talking about October, we'll have another meeting before that. So as long as we pass this motion, and Nancy, you were nodding that the idea of SDIC having a table there, sounds like it would enhance the support, so we can talk about exactly what we want to have at the table at the next meeting. So that would be good to have on the agenda, Amy, for next time. Great. So we have a motion and a second. Start with you again, Francois.
Yes?
Yes.
yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
And yes, another unanimous, we're all unanimous.
Thank you
Okay,
so
great. So,
Appreciate the support.
thank you, Nancy. Thanks, everybody. No, we're moving on to the discussion of Mass Audubon's rodenticide kickoff event. Information sharing about Mass Audubon's upcoming Rescue Franklin County Wildlife from Rodenticide event on September 15th from 6 to 7:30 at the Greenfield Public Library. And I'll turn it over to you, Sarah, and to Martha.
Oh, I was gonna turn it over to Martha right away. But-
All right, very good. However you want to do it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks a
Hello,
lot for
welcome.
inviting. So I sent some slides to Sarah, and I'm not sure if
If she's,
want
she could even share them, if that's all right. That's my technical skill. I think Amy's gonna try to make you co-host, and then if you want to share your slides, you can do it that way. If you're
uh,
comfortable.
The-
Or I
the
can also-
prob- Yeah, I'm not sure that, so Martha has a Mac and
Okay.
I don't
can-
see the share screen option. I've joined on my PC and I've got a share screen option, but I don't see that Martha has the option.
I can.
I'm gonna make you co-host to see if the option pops up
Okay,
while Sarah troubleshoots over here.
Could I join the Zoom?
Sure.
And then I'll do it because Martha sent me the slides. Do you see me in the?
Hold on, I gotta get on the other. Do I see you in the what?
All magic.
There is no way, so you should just be in or not.
I'm glad I'm not in charge of that box over there.
Oh, my God.
I was one day, but it wasn't that complicated.
do you want me to just say something in the meantime?
Yeah. Okay, wait, Sarah, hold on one sec.
You can say stuff while I pull up the slides.
Okay, you can give a little introduction before the slides come up.
I'm totally technically challenged, so
I have a Mac, and if it helps you any, there's
I just made Sarah co-host and she has the slide, so
that's better.
okay.
Fingers crossed. Okay, great. So let's see if I can do this here.
So I don't know if you all saw the coverage today in the recorder about the event.
I've not seen it yet myself. I don't know if anyone else did. But we do have the slides up now.
Okay.
Huh?
these are slides that I extracted from a longer slideshow from a group called RATS, which stands for Raptors Are the Solution. They're a California-based group. And this is just a picture of the toxic food web. And, you know, these SGARs, second generation anticoagulant rodenticides, are really ubiquitous in the environment, even affecting aquatic animals and organisms. I guess, you know, we can just go through these slides pretty quickly.
Yeah, so usually you'll see it in these like black bait boxes and
Yeah.
you can see them around town.
And they are everywhere. And this is just a graphic of the how the poisons move through the food chain. And
And let me ask, when you say, Sarah, they're everywhere, are these being used by town, by private? Are they outdoors, indoors? What are we talking?
they're primarily outdoors, which is the problem. And
Okay,
I'll talk a little bit more about that.
okay, thank you.
Essentially, seen them at the Greenfield Housing Authority. We've seen them Stop and Shop. We've seen them, Martha's seen them at the Northampton Co-op. I forget, just around, but they're usually outside. And the main problem is just that to get to the point, it just causes the raptors to hemorrhage and bleed and die. So it seems like we could, and there's other pest management solutions. I don't totally know the city's pest management practices. So I was curious to hear from Paul when he does get here in the next meeting. But basically there's other strategies that Audubon recommends. So you
Okay.
don't need to be relying on poison, and what many councils and select boards across the state have done is ban use on public land, but then also submit a home rule petition to ban use on private land. These are just some graphics stuff basically about the actual impact.
Sorry about the unpleasantness of these graphics, but this is how you can really kind of get through to people. When they see these pictures, they realize just how much harm these rodenticides are causing. And it's not just raptors, it's really moving through the whole food chain. I wrote an article, a My Turn article about this back in February. And we've done a lot of tabling events, and the awareness of this problem is pretty low in general still. These owls were these really well-known owls in Central Park that were found to have high levels of rodenticides in their systems. And often, you know, hawks and animals that get hit by vehicles have rodenticide poisoning, and they're impaired by, you know, rodenticide poisoning, so they become more prone to getting hit by cars.
Um,
And
And
this is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
you go, Martha.
I was just going to say this graphic is upsetting because a lot of times animals will actually wait outside the bait boxes. The thing about these poisons and these bait boxes, and the bait boxes are really a big part of the problem here, that mice and rats can, and even chipmunks, can go in and out of there. So they can carry the bait out, the poison bait, and actually stash it in the environment, cache it in the environment where other animals can find the bait and also become poisoned. And the mice or rats can live up to like 1 to 2 weeks. And in their weakened state, they become an easy meal for a predator. But also predators, birds of prey like this one here, this falcon, will get smart to these boxes and just wait outside the box for a predator, for a mouse to emerge. So that happens quite often. And this is a turkey vulture that's been poisoned. And a lot of mammals that either are scavengers or predators become poisoned, like this fox. And this is a really sad picture of a bobcat. So it's moving through the food chain and really affecting all of the wildlife and even bears.
And the ironic thing is that the birds of prey eat rodents. So these are like the silent partners to actually help treat the problem. But if we're killing them, we're not helping our rodent population.
Exactly. We're killing off the solution. And this was in California. We don't have these here. But that's what happened to that cougar.
But things like that were instrumental in helping the state of
Yes,
California.
the state of
move to ban
California is
escarres
the only
statewide.
state that banned them statewide. And they had a huge campaign. They had billboards and really went all out to educate people. And so it's the only state so far.
And what is, can you say something about the fertility control system? And where is it?
Yeah, and this is something that Heather Packard, who's the coordinator of this campaign, will be talking a lot more about IPM solutions and wildlife-friendly, poison-free solutions at this program on the 15th. But a lot of places like Boston and New York are now trying this as a solution. And go ahead.
Yeah, just coming down to like source, like removing the food sources. So containerization and exclusion, like blocking off, sealing holes, and then using like the contraceptive bait instead of, so that way when the rats eat it, they just can't, even if they don't get caught in the trap, then they can't breed anymore. So that's what they recommend with integrated pest management. But Heather really knows way more and will give way more on the 15th.
Yeah, Heather
just might be
is
in
a
the-
wealth of information.
I assume that we're not voting because I'm gonna break for 2 minutes.
Okay.
The door downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, I emailed you the reporter article. The online version of it.
Okay.
Reporter article.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to say a little bit about how we got involved in this.
Okay.
About a year ago, exactly a year ago, we went to a kickoff campaign very similar to the one that we're about to have in Greenfield. And we were aware of the problem, we knew about it, but we had a pest control company come out to our place at one point, and he tried, the pest control applicator tried to sell us on one of these long-term contracts, but we questioned it, and he had a mouse issue. It was my parents' house, and they had trouble dealing with the problem, and we had to do a lot of work to do some sealing and exclusion, and we did solve the problem that way. But the pest control companies are very aggressive about using these bait boxes and these long-term contracts, which is really causing a problem. And that really got us going it got us involved when we went to that kickoff. And we realized the extent of this problem and how much it's affecting wildlife. I have this Mass Audubon brochure, and it says we can control rodents without poison. And I just want to say about that we can't control rodents with these poisons. It's not working because you know, as Sarah said, we're killing off the natural solution, the predators that control these rodents.
That's really one of the
yeah.
takeaways with the SCARs is that long-term use, you're not solving the problem, nor do the manufacturers of the products or the pest control companies necessarily want the problem to go away, because their business model is just monthly maintenance contracts indefinitely. So if you're using the SCARs over time, you're actually killing off the natural, the natural predators, and you're also attracting them, because as long as you're putting out a bait, you're going to attract, the mice or rats to come in. So it's not only that this is extremely harmful to wildlife, but it doesn't make good sense for solving the problem. So Mass Audubon is trying to start with an IPM, integrated pest management approach. Really, first look at the problem that you have, and do the basics of how can you eliminate the food sources, how can you eliminate your problem before doing anything else. If they're getting into the building, concentrate on sealing the entrances where they come in, and these sorts of things. And then with poisons, like as a last resort, but by all means not using these SCARs. I wanted to just mention something about the Whitney Hill Mall and the solution that they had. You asked about the contraceptives. I think it's either Boston or Cambridge, or maybe it's the city of Cambridge that is really working this into their program. But there was a woman in
Jody
Jody
Sylvester.
Sylvester. There's actually a video that you can watch on the Mass Audubon Rescue Raptors webpage. But she the mall, the Whitney Hill Mall in Leominster, you might know that it's right south of Route 2 at the intersection of 2 and I-190. Huge mall complex. So she approached the owners and managers of the mall.
This was because there was these sick foxes and a family of sick foxes, and people were very upset. The public got upset. They did a news story on it on Channel 10, and she got a lot of publicity about it. So it really
they had about 150 of these bait boxes, and so she actually worked with them and succeeded. So they have changed. They've eliminated the SCARs, and instead they put snap traps, just old school snap traps, in the bait boxes, but they bait the traps with the contraceptive bait. So
it's called Evolve, I think.
So if the trap doesn't kill the rat, then they're very crafty. A lot of them, they're very good at stealing the bait. So this way they're taking the contraceptive bait. So it isn't a permanent treatment. This is something that's good for about maybe 3 months, 2-3 months, I think. So for the contraceptive to work, they have to be kind of eating it constantly. But this was the owner of the mall and the manager of the property. They implemented this new strategy on all the properties there.
But it required a huge amount of persistence on her part, and pushing and going back and talking to them, and it was not an easy, slow process. But Heather's going to be talking a lot more about
Excellent.
IPM and methods of rodent control. I want to summarize things a little bit and just mention that the week prior to the kickoff event in Greenfield, the Atholbird Nature Club is going to be having a Zoom talk. It's just Zoom, with 2 excellent wildlife rehabilitators. One is Stephanie Ellis, who's the director of Wild Care in Eastham, and the other is Laura Kiesel, who started Save Arlington Wildlife. And they're both very involved and have a lot of firsthand experience with the rodenticide issue. And wildlife rehabilitators are just, these people don't make money doing this, and they're being inundated with sick and dying animals that are poisoned by SCARs. And Laura Kiesel has also started a fund and a group called Save Massachusetts Wildlife, for that purpose, to raise some funds for, doing testing for animals that, often when animals come in sick to wildlife rehabilitators, they don't have the money to do testing to verify. But there are signs when animals are poisoned by rodenticides. They get bruised and lethargic, and they're bleeding out of their orifices, and so you can sort of usually tell when an animal's been poisoned by SR.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction. We're getting near the end of our meeting, and we had another group coming into this room
Oh.
shortly, so thank you. You said there are a couple of things prior to the kickoff. Is that information you can share with Sarah that she can disseminate to the rest of the
That's a good
group?
idea, the Athol Bird Club event. I can send that as
Yeah.
well.
That'd be great. So
Yeah,
thank
we
you very
have
much.
flyers.
And
Yeah.
I'm afraid we don't have time for questions, I don't think, from the committee, but it's a good introduction and
I just mentioned one more thing. There is going to be a short video that the wildlife rehabilitator, a wildlife rehabilitator in Marlborough named Alyssa Giaquinto, has made for this event. And she worked with the city of Marlborough to pass a rodenticide ban. And so she'll be sharing some information in this video about that. So, and I know that there's a lot of people that really care about this issue in Greenfield, and Greening Greenfield has been very supportive. And, the planner at the library was very enthusiastic about having us do the program there. So I think that the Franklin County group will move ahead with the help of Sarah and Max and, other people there that care about this.
thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I did put 2 items in the chat with just a link to the Mass Audubon, to their Rescue Raptors campaign. And then also they have something called the toolkit. So there's a couple links that we posted in the chat.
I can share that.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate you working on this. So we do have, we're gonna get an update up with the Open Space Task Force. I wasn't sure who was that, you were gonna present
No,
that?
but I can,
We're, just have a minute if you would.
Yeah.
Please.
yes,
Sorry about
so, our priorities are identify, map, and work with different parts of city government to acquire new conservation land. That's one. Another one is maintain and improve city trails. A third one is implement the pollinator pilot plan, and last goal is to conduct community engagement. And we have kind of decided who within the committee will be working on each. And then we also looked at a bunch of Allison Gage and another one of our members have prepared all these maps for us to look at so we can prioritize which parcels to try and go after for conservation. That's an ongoing goal. We're not done with it. Maybe in a couple of months.
Excellent. Why don't we put that on the agenda again, just in case, to give you guys, sorry to be so rushed. That's
Okay.
fine. So the next meeting is September 25th here at 4:00.
Fantastic.
So is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Brown, are you in favor of that?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Yes. We
Thank you
made
so
quorum.
much.
We had a meeting.
You have a few minutes.
Do I have a few minutes? Sure.
3 minutes.
Outside?
You're still on record. Bye all. Thanks for.
Take care.